everybody. How are you today? Today is Tuesday, so I hope y'all are doing absolutely amazing. I am just trying to edit one thing once it finally goes live. So if y'all are hopping on and you are watching me live and you see that live button in the top corner, please drop me a 1 and tell me where y'all are coming in from. Because I love to know where every single person is coming in from. It is one of the things that I always have loved, especially when my lives and videos started getting shared out, and they got shared out all over the world. So it was pretty cool that is actually able to happen. Washington State, hi, how are you? I'm Boss Judy. Um, but yeah, so like this live said, hi, my name is Mike. I am coming in from Moore, Oklahoma. As you hop on, please say hi. But give you all an insight of who I am because I don't long time. I did talk about my before and betters on a post on my Facebook, so Instagram. So TikTok, if you want to hop over to my Facebook, it's Mike.Shenane 5. I don't think there's another dot or dot 5. Mike.Shenane.5, and you can go check that out. But so I started drinking ketones to lose weight to stay in the Army. All right. Well, the whole Army story, there's a whole story in itself. So I'm going to tell a little bit of my Army story. And then maybe if y'all want, maybe next time I can tell you a little bit more about my before the Army story because kind of like an onion, you got to peel back the layers. There's a lot of story to tell. But I am 4th generation military. Pretty much all of the males in my family were in the Navy, and they retired from the Navy. My mom also was in the Navy before I was born. So give it up to my mom for serving her country and being one of the 1% of the 1%, because there's not a lot of females that join the military, even to this day and age. So when it came down to it, I decided to join. Now, my reasons for joining weren't all, my dad and my mom served and, 4th generation, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't all that. I was mainly looking to take care of my family. At the time I joined, Michael was, or when I was planning on joining, Michael was just born. He's April baby, so next month is his 17th birthday. And I was working 2 jobs, and I was barely making ends meet. I would work the morning shift at Babies R Us, and then I would get off and pretty much immediately go into working at the golf course, and then I would be there until late. And then the golf course thing didn't really work out as much as I wanted to, so I started working at Whataburger as a manager, and I was kind of doing the night shift. What's up, Only the Family and E. Hinton and William Hernandez? How are y'all doing? But I was working and working and working, so I wasn't seeing my son and barely making ends meet. We were on, uh, state assistance and food stamps and WIC and all that. And WIC is an amazing thing. I think anybody that is able to use it should use it. I'm not dogging any of that. But we were on all that assistance, and I was barely making ends meet, and I was not home, which I really didn't like. So I thought about it, and I started to do my research on what branch I wanted to join. So I went to all the different branches, just like I suggest everybody does. I'm an Army recruiter, so I tell people, hey, go shopping. Hear what I got to say, compare them to the other ones, and see if this is what's right for you. So I decided on the Army, one, because my dad was in the Navy for 20 years. He was on the sub for most of that time, and he was gone a lot. So I didn't want to be gone too much. So I know I joined the Army in the middle of, the Iraq-Afghanistan wars and everything else. So being deployed was inevitable, but I wanted to keep my feet firmly planted on the ground. Okay, so I did end up joining. I went to Fort Sill, Oklahoma. Went to basic AIT, one-shot unit training at 13 Delta, and then got through training. Some things happened during training, which was also a motivator for me to actually get away from the situations that we were in. But that is a whole nother live, and if y'all want to know that story, y'all need to put in training in the comments, and I will see how many people actually want to hear that story, and then we will go from there. So I get to my first duty station, which is Fort Campbell, Kentucky, in April of 2005. So I got one training. So I get to the base, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which is on the border of Tennessee and Kentucky. 2005 March timeframe. After I came home, did hometown recruiting, and literally found out that we were deploying in September. So first deployment under my belt, went pretty good. Did some crazy stuff, blew up some stuff, shot some artillery, went on some patrols, and everything else. All right. During that training, or during that deployment, military people, we see stuff. And a lot of times we can't talk to other people about the things we see unless they are one of our brothers or sisters in arms and everything else. So I kind of bottled stuff up. All right. So then literally a year later, we get deployed again. A year to the date that we came back, or a year to the date. So pretty much we were gone for a year. We came back for a year, trained up, and we were gone back to Iraq again. This time we saw a whole much more stuff. We did a whole bunch of crazy stuff, and it was a lot more heated than the first deployment, right? So things happen again while I was deployed to the family and everything else. And I was on a 15-month deployment. I had to come back early to take care of the family and make sure everything was good. So I came back early, did what I needed to do, went through counseling. While I was in counseling, they started asking me questions about my deployment, and that was like a safe space. And I know that mental health is a huge, huge, huge you don't really talk about it in the military. It's a stigma. That's what the word I was looking for. And if you guys are getting value out of this, share it to your favorite groups. Facebook, there's a share button right there. Just smash that share button and share it out so people can hear this story, because this is my truth. This is part of the reason why I do drink ketones and everything else, and part of the reason I started doing what I do. All right. So I came back, and then I ended up moving to El Paso, Texas, at Fort Bliss, and I was in a very laid-back type unit. We were testing weapons, and we were testing equipment that was supposed to be fielded to the rest of the Army, and we started doing some trainings, and I started getting like these flashbacks, and I started feeling certain things in certain ways. And I really haven't told too many people these things. I mean, when they do ask me what I've done and where I've been, I do tell them. So I ended up having to go counseling because of what happened. It was more of a family counseling. And then I kind of asked the family counselor if I could get referred to somebody else. Somebody else so that they could help me with what was going on. So I got referred to an off-post facility. So Military One is an amazing website, an amazing number. So if you ever have any issues, call them and they will get you counseling. I ended up getting like 12 sessions at no charge. All right, so I got tested for PTSD. I came back on the spectrum. It wasn't super severe. I had some triggers. I had things that would go on, whether it's training or at home. I will tell you that for like the first month or so, pretty much every time I've deployed, it's really hard to get back on the road when you're used to driving down the middle and having everybody move, and then you stop for little pieces of trash because you think it's something else. So that it took me a while to adjust to that. But like there would be things at home that would trigger me, and I would have like a little bit attack or something like that. So I got put on meds, and I got put on, counseling and phone calls and check-ins, and had a group that I race so often. All right, so it gets better and better and better. And then I moved to Fort Hood, Texas. Before I go to Fort Hood, they test me again. And they said, you still have it, just take your meds. They give me meds, and I just go and pretty much refill my meds whenever they get low. All right, I don't like taking meds like that. Like I'll take stuff for my head or allergies and stuff like that because it alleviates the pain, but I really don't like taking things that are kind of like mind altering. And that kind of goes into the other live that I will possibly be doing at a later date. So we get to Fort Hood, and at that time, we are separated, and I have Michael with me because of the things that happened. I was awarded custody of my son. So we go and we do what we need to do while we're in Fort Hood, and then come to find out that I'm going to get deployed again. So I get tested and for my PTSD and everything else, and they up my meds a little bit because getting ready to deploy and go do the same stuff that kind of gave you the anxiety and everything else just makes it a lot harder. And you want to be able to make it through, and you want to be on your best. You want to be able to do your best and do things that you're supposed to do. Okay. So I took my meds, made it through Afghanistan with no issues. Came back, did what I needed to do. I actually got promoted while I was in Afghanistan, and then I got put on recruiting duty. Now, recruiting duty is a whole different beast in itself, right? You're on your own. You're your own boss almost. You do have another boss. You do have some other recruiters that are your partners, and you guys go out and do everything else. So the PTSD didn't really affect me too much there because I didn't have to carry a weapon. I didn't have to go to the range. I didn't have to do all that kind of stuff. So it kind of subsided. And then I met some people that kind of I got along with, but I wasn't too aligned with. And then things happened, and we had a fallout because of a bunch of other stuff, and then the PTSD started up again because of all the pretty much threats and the things that were going on. It just really wasn't very healthy, and it wasn't a good area to be in. And right around this time is when I took my Army physical fitness test, and they were like, "Hey, Sergeant Shannon, hey, you're on the brink of getting kicked out of the Army. You're right. You taped just barely on. We had to tape you and do your body fat composition stuff 3 different times by different people because they got different measurements. So they said you need to do something." Well, I did research, and I found the keto diet and low carb and everything else. All right, which led me into doing the business that I have done. But the other thing is, and the crazy thing is whenever I started drinking the ketones, like I said, they help better mood, energy, sleep, focus, fat loss, muscle preservation, and all that. But the focus and the brain fog, and when you take the MCT and everything else, and it's like a hug for your brain. I literally felt so much better when I was taking that stuff. I haven't been on any PTSD meds since I um, since I started drinking ketones, which is absolutely amazing. I've been tested multiple times because they once it's in your record, they always come back to it and try to see if it's still active. Um, and I just tell them, I found this amazing tool that is helping me, and I told them what it was, and they did their own research, and there is other research, and if you want some of that research, I can give it to you. I have a ton of resources. A couple of the doctors that I've heard speak have spoke uh, on brain health and PTSD, and the keto diet and ketones and everything else. So it's been studied, and it actually helps. Some of the studies that they have done helps with PTSD and TBI, which is traumatic brain injury, and a couple other things. So it is absolutely amazing that that helps me in more than one aspect of my life. Because one of the other things that I did whenever my PTSD was really bad was I'd snap. Like someone would be telling me something or something would happen, and I would just snap and get like super angry, like almost like I'm the Hulk, like ah. And then the episode would go away, and I'd be like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to do that. Dog, quit messing with the cat. I'm sorry, y'all. If you can hear the cat and the cat is in heat, and this is like the only time that the dog is able to actually go and talk, or not talk, but mess with the cat and get super close without the cat attacking him. So he's literally like right up on her all the time. So I know I can hear it. I don't know if you can hear it, but that pretty much brings me to almost present day. Like I was taking the ketones for a while before I ever like jumped in and started doing the business. Now, part of the reason that I jumped in to do the business is I went to a couple events and I hung out with some of the people, and if you're ever been in the military and know some military people, you know that they tend to group together in a small, like a clique almost, and a squad of people that they get along with. And then those are their ride or dies. Those are their people that, if something happens, they call them. And a lot of times we were like that with our soldiers as we're teaching them and we're growing and developing them. That we want them to know that, hey, if you need something, you can turn to me and I got your back. Well, then there's those other people that you train with, that you fight with, that you literally have their back day in and day out when you're going out. And literally, I found that in what I do now. Um, it's even more to a point because in the Army, a lot of times you benefit off of the other person that you're working with. Like if I'm in a squad, like I have a certain job. If I don't do that job, then the other people in my squad are at risk. All right. So it's pretty much scratch my back, I scratch yours, and stuff like that. And I've also learned through some injuries in the Army, muscle, shoulder, ankles, that when you're injured and you can't do what you need to do, um, the Army really don't care too much about you, because they still have a mission that still needs to go on. So, like I had some friends that got left when we got deployed to do what we call rear detachment or rear D. And literally while we were deployed, nobody ever talked about them unless it was a call or an email back home saying, hey, we have this inventory and this is on the property that you are taking care of. Can you make sure it's still there and everything else? And literally that was the only thing that they did. And then when soldiers got out, that's like literally sometimes the last time you hear from them unless you are on social media and you're following them and checking up on them. But this business and this community, they do so much more. I know if you follow my stories, you see me in my uh, in the mornings on things called power hours. So every morning we get guided tasks, and they tell us what to do to help us out, whether it's posting, whether it's ideas, whether it's messaging people and kind of give us what to say. And literally, the people that are leading this, one, they're becoming leaders and developing themselves, and they're putting it onto us. But a lot of them aren't in our chain at all. They're either sideline brothers and sisters, upline, sometimes even downline when they actually enjoy it and they're thriving and they want to do more and give back. So most of the 5 or 6 pages that are on Power Hour, nobody makes money off of each other. We're trying to help each other grow because we want to see everybody win. And that's something that you don't see in the Army. Because in the Army, one of the things that we do is we have boards. And it's literally your competition. Like, I want to be smarter than you. I want to be better than you. I want to run faster than you. I want to get more questions right than you and everything else. So it's pretty much every man or woman for himself. But in this business and in this realm, it's not like that. You have amazing support, and it has helped me grow tremendously. Part of the reason why I'm doing this live, because a couple of my friends said that I need to show the people who I really am and give them more of who I am instead of just showing them what's on the outside, present day, because everybody has a story to tell, and everybody came from somewhere. And this is just a scratch on the surface of mine. This is like the easy part. It's not even the nitty gritty. I know I said drop training in the comments, so if you want to drop training in the comments, as you're seeing this, even if it's on the replay and you made it this far, if you did, please drop me some hearts. Please show me some love because this is really hard to do. But I just know that one thing that I've seen since my dad and a couple other family members and friends have got out of the military is that I don't want to go back to a 9 to 5. I don't want to have to work for somebody. I've already known, like, in recruiting business, like in the Army recruiting, like, it never stops. Like, your mission never stops. It just keeps going. And once the month is over, it's like a reset button, and then you keep going. And then my dad, he works for Chick-fil-A, and literally one of the busiest Chick-fil-A's in Fort Worth, Texas. And he's literally going and going and going and going. And I don't want that. Once I retire from the military, I want that to be it. I want to be able to make my own time freedom. I want to be able to do as I want to do, travel where I want to go, and not have to put in time off, or request to go somewhere or put in a mileage pass, because of what's going on. I want to be able to book a plane flight to somewhere warm and go there for a week or so and still be able to do what I need to do, which is change lives, show people that there's better out there, and all you got to do is, you drink one drink twice a day, which is absolutely amazing and it changes your life. There's no better time than now. Feel like I'm rambling now, so I'm gonna hop off here. I just want to tell you guys a little bit more about myself, where I came from, what I've done, some of what I've done in the military. There's so many more stories, of what I've done. It's like that in a lot of other places as well. No one meets others, didn't they just know? Yeah, so I have a couple of people that work in some corporate jobs that they work in, like cubicles. So they have their little box and they go from work or from home to the box, that they bring stuff from home to make it feel more comfortable, and then they do what they need to do, and they're literally working for somebody else to build somebody else's dream, and that's not what I want to do. I want to be able to pass this along to Michael, whether Michael goes to college and becomes a meteorologist, and teaches band on the side like he wants to. Well, whenever he's done with that, or whenever he hits that burnout mode, I want him to be able to know that this is there for him. Even though he's saying that he wants to do this for the next year and a half before he graduates, so then he'll have a sustainable business that he won't really have to worry too much about college, which would be absolutely amazing because he's getting part of my GI Bill. But it would be even better if he would just be able to literally go to school, concentrate on school, get the best grades, be the most competitive in band and in meteorology. That way he's able to, get the job that he wants or the position that he wants, because he's more competitive, because he's not having to work 2, 3 jobs, plus go to school, plus study, plus do band, plus do his projects and everything else. Like there's so much more out there for everybody than just the 9 to 5 job. So if y'all got value from this, please drop me some hearts. And if you made it this far, please tell me thank you in the comments, because I do appreciate you watching. Spending more time at a job than at home with my family is not something I want for the rest of my life. Penny, I don't want that for you either. I can't wait for you to grow and build and just have a team that we can go and we can train, and we can have our own Zooms, because we are the wild things. And I would love for y'all to kind of walk on the wild side. So I hope all of y'all got value from this. Please share it out. Please say thank you if you made it this far. Or like Penny said, you are awesome. And I want y'all to tap my face on Facebook, hit the 3 dots in the corner, follow, see first, turn on live notification. For Instagram, you're going to go to my profile, hit the bell at the top, and then you're going to turn all the things on, especially the stories, because more goes down in the stories than anywhere else. TikTok, you just need to make sure that you follow me and make sure that you have everything on. That way you get to see all the amazing things. Or you could follow me on Instagram. My handle is Superman_ketone fuel. And then my Facebook is Mike.Chandonnet.5. It's CHANDONNET. I hope y'all have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, depending where y'all are watching from. And I'll check you on my next live. Bye!